A Breakfast Huddle with Elliot Danker, Yasmin Yonkers, and Ryan Hua. Replay from Money FM 89.3.
Right, we're taking a look at the FX world and the markets right now, and we're taking a look at headlines right now for emerging markets, the Swedish elections, and the latest economic data out of the US. And to help make sense of it all, we've got Jameel Ahmad. He is the Global Head of Currency Strategy and Market Research at FXTM. Morning, Jameel.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me again.
Hey, Jameel, let's dive into the emerging market story right now. We've got this weighing on markets last week, and looks like it's going to still be making headlines this week. So they've been under a lot of pressure, and they are now down 16% from their highs in February. Jameel, what are you looking out for this week?
Well, I'm actually looking to see if the emerging market currency weakness story from last week, if it fades into the narrative for this week and how it really goes from here, because you've got a lot of currency weakness spread into different regions of the emerging market. So it's not typically just Asian FX, which is something that we have seen in the past. You've got this massive weakness with the Turkish lira. You've got a lot of volatility in the Russian ruble. The South African rand is starting to show some of the signals of what we saw with the lira in the past. You've got the Argentine peso and the Brazilian real, and yet you've got the Indonesian rupiah that's fallen to its weakest level since the Asian financial crisis before 2000, and you've got the Indian rupee that's fallen to an all-time low, despite the Indian economy just over a week ago printing the best GDP growth levels that the world are expected to see in 2018. So there's a lot of volatility.
Okay, moving on, we've got another currency potentially under pressure, and that is the euro. We've got the Swedish elections in the headlines. Results too close to call, and looks like it's heading to a hung parliament. And Jameel, so there was a surprise surge in support for the far-right party with roots in the neo-Nazi movement. So votes are split. How do you think this is going to affect the euro this week?
Well, we've already seen that over the past couple of months, the Swedish krona has come under a lot of pressure because of the elections this weekend. Despite the Swedish economy showing a lot of strength in 2018. However, the euro hasn't really reflected the elections in Sweden that have just taken place, because a lot of the volatility in the euro over recent weeks has been led by a stronger dollar and concerns that Europe is more exposed to the Turkish lira crisis than what had been priced into the euro. So if the Swedish krona takes some selling pressure after this news that the election's looking very close, then there is a possibility this would have a knock-on effect on the euro. Likewise, it could impact other currencies around the Scandinavian region, such as the Danish krone as well.
All right, Jameel Ahmad, Global Head of Currency Strategy and Market Research at FXTM with us. Jameel, so let's talk about what's happening on the dollar front. The US dollar, a lot of moving parts to look out for. We had some good data on Friday around the non-farm payrolls. We had 201,000 jobs created. That's higher than the estimates of 191,000. And of course, we had average hourly earnings up 2.9%. That marks the largest jump since 2009. Jameel, what are you expecting on the dollar front, especially with the data coming out this week?
I think the dollar will remain supported, and the major weakness in terms of a risk for the dollar right now actually stems from the Trump administration and whether the Trump administration divert attention back towards commenting on dollar strength, because we saw this a couple of weeks ago, and at the moment this ongoing dollar strength that's pressuring a global basket of different currencies. It's actually the opposite of what the Trump administration wants to see. However, on an economic basis, the dollar's pretty strong still and is supported. Federal Reserve will raise interest rates most likely next month. And the data from Friday in the employment report signaled that the Federal Reserve should raise probably again at the end of the year as well. And then you've got the dollars also gaining from the emerging market turmoil, which is another reason to purchase a dollar. And also from the trade dispute, because the trade war, if it does break out, should actually be less impactful for the U.S. economy than those economies that it's targeting, such as China, and of course Japan came into headlines last week. Having said that, I do think a trade war is more negative for the U.S. economy than what has been priced into the markets at this point.
Okay, so it looks like long term we're expecting the dollar to be moving up with good data and interest rates going up.
Yes, I think interest rates are supportive of a stronger dollar, and there's no signs yet of an economic slowdown in the United States. So I do think the US dollar should remain supportive for some time. Let's not also forget that the US has midterm elections in November.
That's right.
And that could cause a lot of volatility when it comes to political risk.
All right, Jameel, President Donald Trump has also hinted that Japan could be next on his trade agenda. How do you think this is going to be affecting the yen?
Well, actually, it's interesting because when there's market uncertainty, we actually see the Japanese yen gains across volatility as a safe haven. Let's give an example of this. Over the past couple of months, the only two real trends when it comes to major currencies has been dollar strength and Japanese yen support as a safe haven, despite the Japanese yen actually weakening against the dollar for the most part. So I think what this news about Trump indicating some sort of attention towards Japan suggests that it's not just China and the United States at the heart of the global trade war. But I do think that if United States President Trump does issue some sort of indication he should go for tariffs on Japan as well in the future, it should weaken the yen, at least on headline.
No, thank you so much, Jameel. Jameel Ahmad, Global Head of Currency Strategy and Market Research at FXTM, speaking with us.
Before acting on the information on Money FM, please consider if it's suitable for your own investment objectives, financial situation, and risk tolerance.